Naomi was on her way for an interview. As she was standing by the bus stop to get a bus, a black SUV splashed water on her, leaving her with stains all over her dress. She was running late, so she decided to go for the interview with the stains, hoping that it would go unnoticed. Debbie, the boss's PA, took Naomi and three other candidates to the boss, Mr. Femi, for assessment after they had been shortlisted by Debbie. On seeing the stains on Naomi's dress, Mr. Femi asked, "What is this dirty lady doing here? Leave my presence," he said. Debbie tried to convince Mr. Femi that Naomi was the best candidate out of all. "Please take a look at her file, sir," she whispered. Mr. Femi ordered her to leave his presence. He is known for not repeating himself, so Debbie pleaded with Naomi to leave. In an attempt to go ahead with the other candidates, Mr. Femi took a look at the files on his desk and asked Debbie to call Naomi back quickly or she would lose her job. Debbie ran as fast as she could to get Naomi back, since her job meant a lot to her. The other candidates were dismissed, and Naomi got the job for the post of Mr. Femi's second PA. She used to work directly with Mr. Femi and was asked to resume work immediately. Naomi was happy to get the job and asked Debbie, who was still panting from running to get Naomi, what the job entails. After catching her breath, Naomi told her all she needed to know about the position and how it is difficult to please Mr. Femi, who sacked his last PA only because he addressed the client by his first name. Naomi then knew she better be extra careful in order to keep her job. Weeks into the job, Naomi was glad she had not had any problems with Mr. Femi, who Debbie thinks has become fond of Naomi, and that in turn had reduced Debbie's workload. Mr. Femi called Naomi into his office one day and asked, "Do I look familiar to you?" "No," Naomi said. "Holyfield Junior High School," said Femi. "Oh, bubblegum, the fat boy with glasses," Naomi shouted. "Yeah, and you were Naomi, the girl with pimple face," replied Femi. "You've changed a lot," Naomi continued. "I got corrective eye surgery many years ago and got slimmer as time went by," said Femi. "What I mean is that you used to be a lot kinder back then," said Naomi. Femi replied, "What happened is that I grew. I have realized that in this life, there are two categories of people, the ones who pushed and the ones who get pushed. I think you belong to the category of the ones who get pushed. You see, while I learned a little bit too late, it seems you didn't learn at all." "What do you mean?" Naomi asked. "That will be all for now. You can leave," Femi replied. Naomi had two friends, Folashade and Eileen, who saw her as tag along, were always boastful about their lifestyle. She always gave them listening ears and was genuinely happy for them. But her friends never cared about her. Kevin, who was a notorious bully back then at Holyfield Junior High School, reached out to Femi to help resuscitate his company that was going through a crisis and needed some funds to save the company. Femi asked Naomi to tag along with him to the meeting, and Naomi, who thought it was a good idea for Femi to want to help Kelvin, despite what he did him back then, was happy. Unknown to Naomi, Femi had a plan of taking Kevin's company. This made Kevin really angry and vowed to destroy Naomi and Femi because he thought it was a gang-up between both of them. Kevin sent some bad men to Naomi's house to harm her. Fortunately for her, she heard one of the men talking to Kelvin on the phone, that they were waiting for her at her house, that Kevin shouldn't worry, that they would deal with her. On hearing this, Naomi ran out and called Femi, telling him what she had heard when the men noticed her presence and ran after her. She kept running until she ran into a moving vehicle. She woke up at the hospital only to find out that it was Femi's car she ran into. Femi had called the police on the boys and gotten Kelvin arrested as well. Naomi sustained little injuries and was discharged the following day. Femi told Naomi she could go on a leave in order to have enough time to recover from the accident. But Naomi insisted on resuming work the following day, that she was fine. Femi sent his driver to Naomi's house every morning to take her to work. It was on one of those mornings that Mr. Effiong, Femi's driver, told her that it was him that mistakenly splashed water on her the other day and wanted to reverse and apologize to her, but his boss asked him to ignore. He recognized her immediately he saw her at work later that day and apologized. Naomi accepted his apology. Naomi, while hanging out with her friends at a lounge where they were supposed to meet with Folashade's fiance for the first time, finally got the courage to speak to her friends about the way they were treating her and how it made her feel. After all she said, all they could say was, okay. She left for the restroom. On her way, she could hear her friends speaking rubbish about her, of how they thought she was too clingy and were only managing her, that they didn't think she was on the same level with them. When she got back to where they were, she told them she had to take her leave, not letting them know what she had heard, but at least she knows her place in their lives. She wasn't happy about this and needed to talk to someone. So she called Mr. Femi, who was supposed to be meeting up with his fiancée and her friends. Mr. Femi had cancelled the meeting with his fiancée. This made her really angry and thought to herself, there must be another girl in the picture. She wasn't willing to let go easily. Femi listened to all the venting that Naomi had to vent and consoled her before leaving. The next day at work, Femi called Naomi into his office to make sure she would take her medication, as Naomi seemed not to like taking drugs. You have to take your drugs and be thankful it's the last dose, Femi said while giving her the bottle of chewing gum to get rid of the drugs aftertaste. I don't believe you would put all 5 of those gums in your mouth. I was going to chew some of it, said Femi. Naomi apologized, but Femi told her she could still share. Femi leaned towards Naomi. Just then, Folashade, Femi's fiancé, barged in on them in a compromising way, with Deborah running after her, saying, Madam, please, go back, you can't go in. Deborah apologized to Femi, that she tried to stop her, but she didn't listen. Folashade was surprised to find her former friend Naomi in Femi's office. Likewise, Naomi. Folashade asked Naomi what she was doing there, and she replied that she works there. Then it occurred to Naomi that Femi was Folashade's fiance, that they had been waiting all this while to meet, but always coming up with all sorts of excuses for not showing up. Femi tried to explain the situation to both parties, but Folashade cut in by saying, is she the reason you have been avoiding me for a while now? Are you trying to leave a gorgeous damsel like me for this ugly, naive girl? Naomi replied and said, oh, Folashade, I thought beauty was everything for you. So now you are upset that your Mr. Perfect is giving me the ugly Naomi who was being clingy to you and your friends, the attention you so much crave. The statement got Folashade so angry that she tried to give Naomi a slap, but was stopped by Femi and asked her to leave immediately, or he would call the security on her. She decided to leave angrily. Naomi felt bad for what she had just told Folashade, her friend, and Femi reminded her that they were not friends anymore, that she shouldn't consider people that made her feel less of herself as friends. I almost kissed someone's fiance, said Naomi. That is not me. What has gotten over me? Femi tried to calm her down, but told him to let her be and pretend that sin never happened and stick to work relationship. Femi unwillingly agreed. Femi met up with Folashade to formally break up with her as they both know the relationship wasn't going anywhere. He offered her some money and made her promise never to go anywhere close to him or Naomi. She willingly took the offer. After all, she was with him because of the money. Naomi tendered her resignation letter as she didn't think the atmosphere at the office was pleasant enough after what had happened. When Femi received the letter, he wasn't happy, but was too proud to ask her to come back to work. Naomi got another job 1 week later. Femi decided to speak to Naomi to let her know the backstory to his change of character. He told her how Kelvin and his friends had locked him in a toilet just because he refused to give them the wristwatch his mother had given him for his 13th birthday before she died. They broke his glasses, rendering him literally blind, and left him in the toilet all night. That was the scariest night of his life until one of the cleaners came to let him out in the morning. His father, who heard about the situation and asked him to come with him to the company as his only child. He showed him around and told him that everything belonged to him and not to let his sense of self-worth and value be based on the opinion of other people. That moment, everything changed for him. Afterwards, he had to leave for England to further his education, and the only thing that almost made him stay back was Naomi. He went ahead to tell Naomi how he had gotten Folashade off her back and ended things with, and asked Naomi to return to work. But Naomi told him she had gotten another job that she liked. Femi said that's all right, as long as they remain friends. He went ahead to tell her how he had always liked her, right from high school, especially because of her intelligence. He asked her to be his girlfriend. Naomi accepted, and Femi was happy. After about a year of dating, they got married and lived happily ever after.